20 years ago, Ivoclar introduced IPS Emax, and we all know how that has turned out. Hi, Voices of the Benchers, Barb Warner here, and I would like to personally invite you to Ivoclar's IPS Emax panel discussion, which is on Friday, February 22nd, starting at 3 o'clock at the LMT Lab Day in Chicago. I will be joined on stage with Jessica Burrell, Stephanie Goddard, Mike Roberts, Jed Archibald, and Dr. Ken Malamant as we dive into the world of Emax. After the panel discussion, Ivoclar will be hosting a happy hour to commemorate this 20-year milestone. So amazing. So please join us by registering at labday.com/Ivoclar, and I cannot wait to see everybody in Chicago.
Welcome to Voices from the Bench, a dental laboratory podcast. Send us an email at info@voicesfromthebench.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Greetings and welcome to episode 355 of Voices from the Bench. My name is Elvis.
My name's Barbara still.
Barbara, you're still sounding a little under the weather.
Yep, I know.
It's a week later.
I sound a little nasally. I know.
What the hell's going on to you? It's not even cold down there. Do people get sick?
Dude, it is cold down here. It's been 42 degrees in the morning.
42?
Yes. Take it back. I don't want it.
Let's see. Last Monday, we got about 7 inches of snow. And then this last Friday, we got another 3 inches of snow. So
wow.
Let's just say it's a little colder than 40-something.
Does everybody just still go out and about, or do people like hunker down, or what happens when you get snow like that?
Yeah, that first initial snow, I mean, counties tell you you're not allowed to drive.
Huh.
And if you go out driving, it better be an effing emergency. I don't think they're pulling people over, but yeah, people just don't go out.
Wow.
But depending on when it stops, you got crews out all night, plowing roads, laying salt.
Got it.
Next day, everybody's out at work, you know.
Okay.
We can handle it. I'm sure if you got half an inch of snow in Florida, the whole place would shut down just because you don't have the infrastructure to handle it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but it still just makes everything just kind of suck around here, you know?
Mm-hmm. Get it.
Yep, not fun scraping off your car at 6 in the morning.
It sucks to be you.
Me and the rest of the country. So.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is on Wednesday or Thursday for me, we're heading out to Las Vegas.
Heck yeah.
I mean,
can't wait.
It's going to be amazing. Vision 21 is this week. Hopefully we get to see a lot of friends. And honestly, I'm just looking forward to getting away for a few days, enjoying some not freezing weather, even though I barely leave a casino. But
I really like Vegas. I think Vegas is so amazing. I know people hate it or they like it. I'm not a gambler, but I just freaking love, like, everything's big, everything's beautiful. It's just amazing.
Everything's flashy. The people watching is amazing.
Yeah.
That's
no
what
doubt.
I go for.
Yep.
I can walk around, just look at the crazies all day.
People doing the walk of shame, you know. Yeah. Pretty awesome.
You ever go for a run when you're out there?
Yes, I do, actually.
I do enjoy running the strip early in the morning.
It's going to be cold.
There.
I looked it up.
Is
it's
it?
like 36 in the morning. Yes, it's going to be cold.
That's warm for me. I'd kill for that. I think it's
Okay.
14 right now. So,
Ooh. All right. Well, then I'll see you out there.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh,
So last week we talked all about our time in the Ivoclar Ballroom coming up at LMT Lab Day Chicago. Super excited.
mm-hmm.
But there's another meeting happening the same week that we're also going to be recording at. And this event is called Cal Lab.
I know you've mentioned it before.
I know, but this meeting happens on that Thursday and the first half of the Friday. So owners, managers, and technicians gather for this, what we like to call the peer-to-peer meeting.
Right on.
Just because it's not really put together by anyone other than other people in our industry.
Exactly.
It's always been a meeting that's full of great speakers and the legendary closed forums, which is a fan favorite of mine, where we get to kick out all the vendors and we get to talk trash about. I'm just kidding. We don't talk trash. But we get to discuss things openly without the vendors being in the room.
Yeah, and it gets real. Like people discuss issues, and it's a very honest half an hour or whatever it is. Everybody really likes it, including
Yeah,
myself. Yeah.
absolutely. And the greatest part really is just all the people that attend this meeting. Because when you go to Chicago Lab Day, it's so big.
Yeah.
You hardly see half the people you want to see. But Cal Lab's a little smaller, and it allows you to really connect with some really big names in our industry.
Right on.
And they're always willing to allow you to pick their brain, and you can talk to them between the programs or at their cocktail reception on that Thursday night.
That was a blast last year. It was ridiculous.
Well, that was the actual party. Are they doing that again?
I believe so.
That happens from like 9 to like 1 in the morning.
Mm-hmm. We dance our asses off.
Yeah,
Yes.
where real respected lab owners make fools of themselves.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
yes.
It's good fun. But that cocktail reception Thursday is where we're going to be set up to record.
Are you telling me that we're recording at the cocktail party itself?
Yeah, the same place we did last time. Hopefully they won't put us next to the band.
Oh my God, I might be drunk.
That's fine.
Okay.
Drunk Barb's funny Barb.
Not drunk, buzzed. How about that?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
So anybody, if you want to make the most of your Chicago dental trip, seriously, head over to cal-lab.org. That's cal-lab.org. And register and join the association. And once you join, you get a ticket to this meeting that's happening in a place you were already at. So you might as well.
Yes. Thank you. Well said.
So this week, we finally got to meet the technician that has earned the name Jonny Exocad.
Yes, we did. And he's awesome.
So Jonny Jakson, now you know where the Johnny part comes from, is from a family full of dental techs. He got into it young, and he got into digital young. More importantly, their lab got into Exocad very early on. And now you see where the second half of his nickname comes from. Jonny talks about his journey with his uncle, being a part of a lab that's broken into 3 aspects that benefit dentistry, creating an iOS scannable marker for full arches, and how with Exocad he's able to accomplish anything he wants to do, and how he enjoys showing others their potential to, quote, bleed purple.
Bleed purple.
So join us as we chat with Jonny Jakson. Voices from the bench. The interview.
It's Polish.
I'm Polish too. Oh, I
Let's
love
go.
I'll just sit over here. You guys can hash it out. So,
How about them pierogies?
All right. I had them Saturday night. And I made guamkis Sunday.
Oh,
I have
Oh
no
my
idea what you
gosh.
all are talking about. I'm hoping it's like a meat thing.
you're speaking my language.
I know I am. All right. Let's do it.
Barb and I are super excited today because we finally get the person on who many people in this podcast refer to as Jonny Exocad.
Oh, yeah.
Jonny Jakson, how are you, sir?
Hi guys. Nice to meet you. Nice to be on here. I'm just really excited to be here. I've been listening to podcasts since, I've started being a dental tech. I'm born in a dental tech family, so it's just something I was kind of born into, and it's always been around
Well,
me.
let's talk about that. I mean,
Correct.
obviously, you just don't wake up one day and everyone refers to you as Jonny Exocad. I mean, that's something that's obviously earned, I would imagine. So
Heck, yeah.
nobody calls me Elvis Podcast. So
Right.
Not yet, anyways.
God, please don't. So, Jonny, you just mentioned you grew up in the lab. So, where your parents, or let's get into it?
Our family were first generation Americans. My dad was born in Poland, and so was my uncle. So my family moved here from there, and well, basically, hard-working first generation Americans. They're always pounding on us to get working,
Oh, yeah.
keep up with, like there's no letting up on any slack there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they won't let you slack. So as soon as I was old enough to even like try to, be able to work, they're like, yeah, you go get a job, go work. So started at a pizzeria and I freaking hated it. But meanwhile, my
I have the pizza background too.
yeah, yeah, I mean, good with your hands, right?
Yep.
It's hard work.
Yeah, it's hard work, good with your hands. You gotta spin them pies. But
Did you flip the dough in the air?
I mean, I tried. I don't think I was that good at it though. But yeah, that was like I was a little kid, when I was doing that. So my uncle, he was always pretty successful, and he had a dental lab in Buffalo at the time. But he always didn't have the lab. He worked at Avident as well. So my story doesn't start really in dental with me. It kind of starts with my uncle.
Did he move over with your family?
Yeah, he did. So it was my dad, it was my uncle. So my dad and his siblings, they're a group of five, and we're all
Yep.
super close and tight. Like they're like my brothers and sisters, my cousins, right? Like when we
Yep.
get together for any family get up, it's all of us, the cousins too, and they're just like my brothers and sisters. I love them. So we've always been that close, and that's kind of
Yep.
where the family business I was really intrigued in. I was intrigued in fine detail.
Well,
I was
hold up.
artistic.
I gotta ask you, how
Yeah,
how did
yeah.
your uncle, if he moved over from Poland, how did he find dental?
Oh,
Do you
so
know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So he found dental. It's a crazy story. So there's this program in Buffalo, and I did it too. It's basically a program where you go and learn to be a lab tech while you're in high school. So he did this program, and I think it's a beautiful program for like any of the younger kids, even nowadays. Oh my gosh,
It's
like
still around?
yeah, it's still around, and I go there every year, and I do a little lecture there, and I try and get kids who are, they're video gamers, these
Oh
people.
yeah.
It's a good group to reach out to. They don't know what they're gonna do in their next 4 years of their life. They could get a job that's paying better than a minimum wage job, and they can get a foot in the door and thinking about what they want to do this way. You know what I mean? I
That is
think
so great. And that was at a high school?
it's a program that you can do during high school. So the high school will allow you to not take like certain classes, like, those shit classes, and you could just go and learn lab tech stuff. So I learned waxing, building up porcelain, milling. It's called Erie Wimbosis. It's like a career searching school. Basically, I went there because I was very interested in dental. My dad, he's head of global IT at Ivoclar, and my uncle, he owns the lab. And
Mm-hmm.
he always was very passionate and very innovative, and I always looked up to him as far as like his passion and about his work. And I was very fine detail oriented, very artistic, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this Harkness program. I'm gonna learn dental tech stuff, and I'm gonna start working at his lab because I hated pizzas. I was working making pizzas maybe 4 months, and I was like, I got sick of smell coming home smelling like pizza, and my clothes are all ruined.
How old were you?
I was 15 or
Okay, I was
14 even,
thinking you were probably
so
fairly young. Okay.
very, very young. And it's a hard thing to make those decisions when you're younger, like trying to push yourself to be proactive about your
Mm-hmm.
future.
Yep.
But starting up in a family like mine, there's not really a choice. It was kind of an expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, with that being said, so moving forward, I started working at the lab. My uncle had me in the model room
Oh
first, and
yeah.
yeah, he had me in the
Gotta
model
start
room
in the model
first.
room.
Gotta start in the model room, and
Yep.
then processing dentures and scanning. So I was doing those three all at the same, like, same time ish, just bouncing around, trying to
Mm.
learn as much as I can. And me going into all this, I'm thinking like I gotta be a sponge, like I just gotta be a sponge about everything.
Did you like it?
I loved it. Yeah, I mean,
So
I
right
loved
away
it.
you knew you were just like, this is
I just
home.
yeah, I just fell in love with it, honestly. And even in like class, I was working at the lab and my teacher would have me, help the kids at the class. And she would have me go up front and show things that I was doing at the lab and stuff like that. So the group that I was with also kind of got exposed to a lot more than they would regularly too. It was just a great thing. Just my uncle being my mentor really early on in my life, and I just looked up to him. He worked at Avident. He was a part owner of Avident. I'm pretty sure his name is on the patent of the digital denture with Tim
I was gonna
Thompson.
say, wasn't Avident the early
Yeah,
digital
Digital
denture company?
dentures.
yeah,
He was part of that. Wow.
yeah. So he was a part of that, and that's like just what really like kind of drove my passion and innovation is just trying to be, relatively as good as him one day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have such a great guy in front of me to learn from, so I don't see why not, right? So we had like a 30-person lab here in Buffalo, New York. Buffalo's a small city, but
That's a pretty big lab guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty big for what it was then. He went to Avident and then he purchased that lab back after he moved back from Avident.
Hmm.
I got in around when he came back, and he had the lab for about 2, 3 years from there. When I came in, we had Exocad for about maybe 3 years. So Exocad didn't come to North America till about 2012.
Right.
When I got onto Exocad, we were on a version called Plovdiv. It's a very early version. It had a lot of basic workflows. Early on Exocad was really good with crown and bridge, but full denture was not its forte. There were workarounds that you had to do to get the two-piece denture like today. So the monoblock and the two piece, you could do a monoblock easy, but the two piece, you had to do a weird Boolean subtraction by saving out the teeth first after you cut them, bond, and they were connected with all the connectors. And then you'd create an
Hmm.
insertion direction from the intaglio surface, and you'd create like a Boolean subtraction object to subtract the teeth pockets from the monoblock. And that's how we
But
did
you
it
could
early
do
on
it.
in Exocad. Yeah,
You could do
but we
it.
could do
Not
it.
You just had to
easily.
do those 20 steps.
Exactly. You had to do all these 20 steps, right? But that's early on Exocad, right? So that was
Yep.
around like 2015 Exocad. And I was just getting into design at that point. Also,
I imagine they didn't teach any of that in your high
Yeah, I
school
was going to
no,
program,
ask.
right?
exactly, exactly. They didn't teach any of that in the high school program. They taught all the traditional stuff, which it's great to know that, the basis and the fundamentals of all of that. But to apply those things with the digital mindset and keep the materials and keep the material sciences and how those function and work with each other, that's where I believe in learning about traditional workflows, right? Like
Right.
you need to know
Hmm.
those things. Those are
Yeah.
Yep.
those are fundamentals that build upon all the way even to now, sometimes when you're working with materials and newer materials.
I mean, other softwares at this time, you couldn't even come close to doing a denture.
Right, right. I mean, I think there was the Avident one that was like web-based, right? And
Yeah.
that one's pretty clunky, and I still know dental students who are learning, lab tech stuff. They are using that because it is relatively cheap, but the way that they move teeth is very horrendous.
Hmm.
I've had to go on and try and help a friend who is trying to do that, and it just you can move teeth like you can.
Drove you nuts? You just say, let me do it for you.
Yeah, I'm like, can we just bring this in Exocad? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
What else? Three Shape was around at that point. Three Shape was doing Crown and Bridge, but not much. We were early adopters of Exocad, very early, and we kind of just bled purple at that point, just because
Oh,
we saw
yeah.
the capabilities that it could do and the future of it. So we were on Exocad in 2014. In about 2016, we got our reselling license, so we were able to be a reseller for Exocad. But our president, Josh Jackson, my cousin, also one of my best friends, he is the president of Evolve, and he started Evolve Dentistry based on seeing that doctors are manufacturing in the office, right?
Hmm.
There was the
You
early
got a
on
lot
CEREC
going on
machine.
at this point, just saying.
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot going on. So So, early on CEREC machines, and they're not that great. I'm gonna be honest with you,
Oh
they're not
yeah, we
great. But
remember.
Yeah.
yeah, but his vision was, I want to empower these dentists to have the same equipment and do the same work that we do here in the lab, because there's no reason that they can't, right?
Right.
There's no reason that they can't. With the right training and the right equipment and the right knowledge, they can achieve that. And that's where our goal resided in. So
So he was working in the lab with you?
yeah, my cousin Josh works in the lab with me. I also have another cousin, Alex. He's the marketing director,
So
and
it's
my
totally family straight up. I love it.
my uncle is the owner, and my aunt is also the owner, and they are the backbone of the company. My aunt and uncle, and they've given me and my cousins a really great opportunity to do something huge. You know what I mean?
So what's the name of the lab? Is it Evolve also?
No, so it's weird. So we have three sections for our company. We have
Jeez.
Evolution Dental Science. So that's the full service laboratory, and
Yep.
basically that's the more high end laboratory. Then we have the Olivia Dental Lab, and this is focused strictly on just DSOs, like
Mm-hmm.
Heartland Dental and Great Lakes Dental. That our DSO, and what we're doing is we're saying you can reach this specific price if you do specific records, right? So if
Yeah.
if you're doing intraoral scan, upper lower bite, we're going to give you a single unit crown for this said price, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's how we're able to do it for this. But anything advanced or anything like that for them, then we move them over to the Evolution price book. But this allowed us to kind of lock in with some DSOs and kind of get a lot of volume done for them, and not trying to like downgrade any work or anything. We're not, all this stuff's made here in Buffalo, New York. All of our designers
Mm-hmm.
here are in Buffalo, New York. Everyone we teach
Really?
are here in Buffalo, New York. So we're American made, and we're all here in Buffalo, just trying to scrounge any dental tech that can here, right?
Yeah.
Or even train them up, right?
Yep.
So you say there's three businesses. So you got the lab, you got the high-end lab, the DSO.
And then Evolve. So Evolve Dentistry is my section that I work in mostly, and that's the reselling and education. So we resell lab products and products for the clinician, as well as we sell Exocad, Vectra face scanner, the iTero
Oh
scanner.
wow.
We sell the Sprint Ray lineup, the resins, anything you want. The VHF mills, love them VHF mills. There's so much you can do with those VHF mills. They're great for the lab, and then introducing them to the offices is amazing, because you're just able to equip them with the equipment that we have, right? I'm not saying like we use the VHF all the time here, like for every single type of restoration. Like I'm not going to mill a titanium bar on it every single day, but
Mm-hmm.
a doctor can mill a titanium bar on there on the R5. You know what I mean? Like these mills
Sure.
they're lab mills. They're great mills. It's just we have a bunch of mills, but the VHF line is perfect for the practice. It's great quality. It's great quality. You can do them Ivoclar dentures on them. That's just super efficient in my opinion. They're really efficient. You
Yeah.
get really good quality out of them. And if you do a little cutback and you add some extra characteristics on it, like you can really make them look so beautiful.
So how do you cross over with the clinicians? Do you basically train them on how to use some of this equipment, and
Yeah,
then they
exactly.
use your designers, or like what does that look like?
Exactly. So when we sell them equipment, we'll teach them, especially Exocad. So Exocad, that's our forte. We bleed purple.
Right.
So when we sell someone Exocad, we're not saying hi, goodbye, thank you for the sale, right?
Right.
We're there for your Exocad journey, right? We want you to use your dongle.
Are you seeing a lot of clinicians get into Exocad?
A lot, yeah, a ton,
Who
so
has
many.
time?
For what?
They love it. They love it to go
Wow.
home and design. And you got that case that you really want to go the next like 10 yards on, like doing the wax up ahead of time, pre-planning the case, you'll see so much more that way, even as a tech, right? You wax up the case and you do a
True.
pre-plan, you see a pre-plan of the case. You got facial scans, you got CBCT, you got jaw motion,
Mm.
you're getting intraoral scans, upper lower bite, and then you say the treatment plan is to do a full mouth rehab. You can see all these things before you even get in there and you see the patient, right? You got that digital patient, and you can work with your designer and basically just go the 10 yards that you need to go and nail that treatment planning early on.
So
And
you're
it's
basically
huge.
teaching them to communicate better with us too as they visualize the case.
As well, yeah, exactly. They're also learning our terms and lingo at the same time. So they're
Yeah.
learning Exocad, they're making their own restorations. There's a ton of dentists with printers now. So what I did is then made a design services aspect of Evolve, where they can, because I was doing trainings with doctors and they wanted designs too. So I'm like, well, you know what? Then,
Bingo.
we're gonna do this. Then upload it to design services. We'll do it together. We'll do the training together, and then you can print it out and then, try it in, and, maybe that prototype has one try in, and then they're like, all right, let's go to finish. And they'll let us know, and we'll bring it right over to the lab and finish it up, right? So it's just it's a really collaborative thing that I've
Right.
wanted to kind of achieve
Yeah.
with this sector that I've been focusing on a lot within the past 2 years, and it's really going really well. Like, I even have people having me go out for trainings in the office with same day conversions, wanting to learn how to convert same day, printed, with either photogrammetry, or I uh, I helped develop this solution for intraoral scan jig. It's called the EasyRef system. I
So
helped
what, you have
this.
your own patent now?
No patent. You can't patent a shape. You know what I
Sounds like
mean?
it's close.
It's a
Yeah.
scan body. It's a scan body. You can't patent a shape. But
No, I'm just messing with you.
so the
What
EasyRef
is it?
system, it's an intraoral scan jig, and basically it's to substitute photogrammetry, because I saw a ton of doctors out there purchasing a $40,000 unit and they do maybe one arch every 2 months. And I'm like,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
that can't be right. You're not making the ROI on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, you can achieve that implant position accuracy if you just spend the time and take the records intraorally appropriately. But there wasn't really a scan body that was out there that kind of had this vision. So this engineer I had trained Exocad on, he was working with a doctor in Rochester, New York, which is an hour away from Buffalo, a little bit towards the middle. And he was
Mm-hmm.
working with this doctor on building this scan body. So then he came to me when it came to the Exocad library part, and, thinking about, because I work with so many doctors printing in their office, he needed help thinking about, like, how do we achieve the best library for said scan body, right? And everyone's doing direct to the MUA now with no tie base, you know what I mean? And
Sure.
they're
Sure.
getting really good results with that. And there's a million screws coming out and stuff like that. And some of these screws, they don't have good offsets to the internals of the screw. And you have variables of different printers and different microns of accuracy on each printer. And
Yep.
there's so much to be said there with different manufacturable materials, different printers, and then making sure that all works on surgery day. So
Yeah.
these offsets that are at zero, or not even having an offset, some of these libraries, the screw is supposed to fit perfect with the shape somehow, and tend to have to take a burr to it every time. So I was like, hey man, we need to build offsets to these screws. So 20 microns, 40 microns, 60 microns. You know what I mean? Just to
Yeah.
offset a little bit so that the screw will go in every time on surgery day. Like, that's most important.
Hell,
The
100%.
worst
Yeah.
phone call is the doctor calling you that he can't get his screws in. He's got to adjust the internals of a very important part, and it's because he didn't take the time to calibrate his printer. You know what I mean? Or some
Mm-hmm.
printers don't even have that capability. And then he's just got a messed up printer, and the company that sold it to him doesn't really care. And you got all these moving parts, you know what I mean? It's
But he got the printer on Amazon. What's the problem?
Yeah, what's the problem, man? You got it on Amazon. It's supposed to work. So yeah, exactly. To be said, done with that, I was like, you know what, man? We need to build offsets. So I had them build offsets for most of the popular screws out there. So the Vortex screw doesn't really need an offset. Powerball, the Rosen, the
Mm-hmm.
Jess, those are the top guys at the time. So we built offsets for those.
How do you build an offset?
Oh, you do it in some crazy
Talk to me about that.
software.
Oh yeah. So is that like really hard?
Yeah, you do it in like an Autodesk or like a mesh mixer or a Blender. We used the Autodesk and Blender, or not even Blender, Autodesk and Geomagic it
Huh.
is. And basically, so you have to just create that shape, but make it larger about like 20 times. Or,
Wow.
you got to do it a specific increment and you got to measure it perfectly. And then you got to put it back into a library and you got to code the library. It's a whole lot. It was just a project, man.
So how do you know it works? Do you work with like a doctor and be like, all right, I just built this, but I got to double check and make sure it works?
Oh, so I know it works because of the numbers, right? And I'm working with an engineer, the numbers, right?
Bingo.
So the numbers work, the idea. But yes, we do test it. We did test it. We had it in a beta test for a whole year. I had really close clients that I have this one client, I do like 70 same day conversion arches for them a month. And
What?
How
Wait,
many?
a month?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I swear to you, they do like 5 or 6 a day. It's
Wow.
quite.
Where is this practice
I want
located?
that client.
They're all over the country. They have a couple.
Who does that many? Jeez.
Man, I know. It's a lot. That's been my last 4 years of my life of is that person.
Wow.
Hey, man, when you get them, hold on to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
I'm curious about this easy ref. So
Yeah.
the intraoral scanning is used to replace photogrammetry, but photogrammetry is such a hot topic.
It is so hot topic.
I don't understand why people use photogrammetry if these intraoral flags work so well. I just don't see
It's a
why.
security blanket, right? It's a security blanket.
Yeah, but they work. So why invest?
I asked myself the same question, and that's why I built this, or I needed to be a part of this, or even just make something even close to having a shot of, replacing spending 40 G's on something that you're going to use once every month, or once every 2 months.
As
Because
a designer, if somebody came to you and says, "I have either one, which one do you want me to use?"
it's quicker to do the easy ref, so I'm going to say the easy ref.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's hilarious to me.
And as long as you take good records, but if you have tough records, go with the photogrammetry. Or if you're doing like, 6 arches a month, like 5 to 6, you can afford the photogrammetry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a safety blanket. But the photogrammetry, right, like it's perfect every time, pretty much, as long as the scan body's seated on the multi-unit. I've had the scan body not be seated on the multi-unit
Yeah.
at all before and asked why it didn't work. But it needs to be seated on the multi-unit
Yeah.
and it works every time, no tissue holding it up. But the easy ref, right, if you take diligent record taking, then it's going to work every time also. So you just need to either focus on your records or focus on, being quick and getting out. So it's totally up to you, right? What kind of practice you want to run.
Yeah, I have an office and we do a lot of the same day surgery prints,
Yep.
and we use one of these, not your brand, but another one, and it drops in every time. And they keep talking about photogrammetry, and I'm like, why?
Why?
I don't, it's working. Don't mess with it.
If it
Why
ain't
spend the
broke, don't
money? You
fix
just
it.
want the toy? Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I
Exactly.
get they just want something new to play with, I guess. So.
I
So is
guess,
the
yeah.
Easy Rep, yeah, is that something you guys sell through your company, or how does a doctor
Yeah.
find out about that? Or do you just promote it to your clients?
We sell it through our company. We sell it on our website. We promote it on social media and we promote it via cases. If any doctors want to post about it and stuff like that. But No paid ad share spend or anything like that on it. But yeah, it's just to help a cause, right? Because in the future, scanning's not going to get worse. It's only going to get better. That's how I thought of it, right? It's only going to get
Right.
better. Scanning's only going to get
Yeah,
better.
I hope.
What I hope. But, with scanners getting better and the accuracy getting better with scanners, having that link cross arch, it gets rid of the cross arch distortion. So that's a big thing on surgery day. Is you have a bloody scan field and you are
Mhm.
scanning the blood and you have assistant scanning one side and it's starting to warp cross arch and it's mostly on the mandible. You'll see that. You'll see the mandibles either like stretched out or stretched in because it doesn't have that palate connecting it together. So the EasyRef and other scan bodies that people have developed, around the same exact period as we did, those basically they cover up the scan field, right? And you're supposed to angle them and choose the shape that fits for that implant position. So you want to have them covering the ridge, touching each other or very close to touching. And we have a bunch of different shapes able to switch in and out, or you can even torque them down a little bit and then rotate them on the multi-unit and make sure that they're in the right spot. But it's a cheap way of getting this done right. You know what I mean? It's an intraoral scan jig and it works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The accuracy is there. It's just about the records and the diligence.
Did you say you can rotate them after you screw them on?
Well, so yeah, if you don't have to torque them down all the way, right? Yeah, if you
Sure.
torque it down all the way, it'll be fixed in. But if you just loosen it just a tiny bit, it'll just spin on the multi-unit a little
Yeah,
bit,
yeah.
and then you can get that flag or the arm, I'll call it. You can get the arm right into the specific spot you need it in.
Yeah. So let's get into you training on Exocad because I know
Yeah.
you do a lot of it
Yes.
with offices, like you mentioned, but you talk a lot with labs, right?
Yeah, we work with a bunch of labs too, like we love the labs. Those are the more fun clients too, if I'm being
Of
honest.
Yeah,
course.
we know.
Yes.
We know.
we
Yeah.
we all share the same pain, you know what I mean? So that's
Yeah.
that's what it is, right? So we understand when you're working on something and something's difficult, like we understand. So we work with labs. We've equipped labs with Exocad and we've taught them on Exocad and they all do really well, right? So they get a month of free training and then we have a subscription based system. And this remote training kind of started during COVID because
Mm,
during COVID, everyone wanted to start learning, but there wasn't a way of actually learning that well. So
Right.
my cousin Joshua started the remote training sessions via Zoom, and people were booking with him to learn Exocad via Zoom. So we weren't necessarily getting work at the lab, you know what I mean, but we still had some clients, scanning some stuff and sending it in through the scanner, every once in a while during COVID. Some places were open and could do some work a little
sure.
bit, and you could scan it and send it through. The mail was pretty shaky around that period,
Yep.
but the remote training sessions really were booming during that period because people had the time to learn. You
Oh yeah.
know?
Yeah. Barb learned Mio.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, me out during COVID. That's smart, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I learned nothing.
What's
Um,
that? Well, I was going to ask, like, when you speak about the Exocad software and you have somebody that's interested in it, what do you like the best about it? Or give me a couple things that you absolutely love about this software.
The versatility, you can do whatever your heart desires. That's what I think Exocad is. You can make any prosthetic your heart desires with the will of wanting to do it. It's only up to you at the end of the day to get to that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have all the resources here at Evolve to get you to that point, but it's all up to you at the end of the day to want to reach that point. And you can design whatever you want in Exocad. I'm telling you, whatever you want. I think last night I saw some designer on Instagram carved Messi's face into like a crown or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
Wow.
oh, I think I saw that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Or someone put a Santa hat on the Exo skull. Like that is
Wow.
so
Yep.
funny. You know what I mean? Like you can really do whatever you want. Jaw motion, like you can switch implant positions. I had a user reach out to me about the photogrammetry. Someone sent them a random shape of a healing cap. And, that's an issue with photogrammetry is allowing these clinicians to, make whatever shape they want, export out of the machine. But now it's up to the design softwares and the implant company developers to create a library for that shape. But now it's falling
you need
onto
to know what the shape represents.
now it's falling onto the lab shoulders because they received this random healing cap that doesn't have a library on exocad.com or wherever 3Shape gets their libraries from, right? I'm sure you can download them on their website. And, there's no shape and library for it. And you're stuck in this world of trying to find the shape. So I'm just lucky to have a verse library set, and I was able to find this one random Straumann healing cap shape, right? You can export whatever shape you want, and you need to have a library corresponding. So Exocad's really versatile in being able to find a shape that you need, or reaching out to they call it a super user designer. So anyone that's really good at Exocad, they call it a super user at Exocad. You can reach out to any of those people that you see online, and I'm sure they'll have a shape or they'll help you out. You know what I mean? But if we're your reseller,
are you not a super user?
Well, I am. Yeah, I'm not gonna.
He's Jonny Exocad, Elvis.
Please tell me your license plate says Exocad.
No, the funny thing is,
Oh, he's giggling. Are you bleeding purple right now? Damn it.
Yeah, I am. So Mark Rosenberg, the VP of Exocad North America, his license plate is called Exodad. So I just visited him in Detroit.
Oh, that's amazing.
I love that.
Tristan Drescher, our top sales guy, he came up with the name for him because he kind of takes care of us like our dad, but for Exocad, right? So he's our Exodad, and just kind of takes care of us for Exocad, and he's always looking out for us, and he's a great guy, and we love him.
You're all Exo kids?
Yep, that's right.
Well, who came up with the name for you, Jonny Exocad? Or is that just something that somebody made up, or what is that?
Yeah. So some doctor got real hyped up about something I did for him. I bent my back backwards for him, got him his file. He printed it out.
Sure.
He put it in and it's slam dunk. And he called me up and he's like, Jonny Exocad, you did it. You did it. He's this guy from Jersey. I love him. I'll never forget. And then from there, I'm like, man, I should really start getting on Instagram because, I'm on Facebook. I'm not really posting. I need to get on Instagram and start posting what I'm doing. And, I'm teaching people Exocad. So I want to be able to teach people via Instagram as well. And, just looking at my content and being able to grab something out of it and take it to your day-to-day is something I strive to do when posting or trying to figure out a post, right? Is try to find something that will help someone who's looking at designing or is designing, right? So that's what I set out to do. So I created the Instagram handle Jonny Exocad. I think it was during COVID, and here we are today. People are calling me Jonny Exocad, and it's funny. I love it. It's great.
Well, I think you kind of earned it a little bit after talking to you for an hour.
Oh man, yeah, I guess so.
It sort of kind of sounds to me like your brain goes in every day and says, "How can I make this better?"
I guess I try. I don't know.
So you mentioned that when labs buy Exocad from Evolve, right? They get a month of training. What does that look like? And it's not every day you're doing it for a month. What does that look like? It's
not every day. And they don't end up signing every day because who really has the time for that?
Yeah, that's a lot of training.
Exactly. So it's an hour set aside, and you can do about 3 a week, right? And basically, they'll book on our website under the Learn tab, and they'll use their code that they get from the purchase, and they'll they'll use their training and book on our scheduler. So our scheduler is linked to a calendar that we have, and it's also linked to Zoom. So the client gets email notifications about the Zoom, and then we're on the meeting waiting for them whenever the meeting is placed with them. So they book the meeting. It's all up to them, right? Don't just call me up and be like, hey, I want a meeting right now. Like, you gotta book it ahead of time.
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
we have surgeries going on too. You know what I mean? We have pre-scheduled
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
surgeries, like with our design portal, pre-scheduled surgeries, and I wanted to create a space where I can have designers and empower designers to work collaboratively with doctors and any other designers. And so you can pre-schedule surgeries with us and basically get a pre-designed wax up and get that patient going ahead of time and start talking about it with the clinician ahead of time and get that pre-treatment plan done ahead of time. And then on the day of surgery, you're already booked with a specific remote designer of your choice, right?
Sure.
And then you just are kind of waiting for that doctor on that day. So I have my guys reach out to the client in the morning, say, hey, Dr. So-and-so, like, we're ready for you for this same day design today. Just please keep me updated for the bone screw scan, and we'll be here waiting for you, right? We're here for you. I love being able to empower any designer to be able to have that communication and kind of build their own brand as far as working with a specific remote designer, right? We call them the virtual technicians. So we're your virtual technician
Yeah.
here, right? And we're lab tech. We're all here in Buffalo, New York. We're lab techs, born and bred in the lab, right? And I have a design team, about 15 guys on the design portal. And then for the lab, we have a separate design room. And that's got about like 25 designers in that design
How'd you find all
Wow.
those people in Buffalo?
Yeah.
room.
That's huge.
So we've been training them. We're training them. We've been bleeding purple for a while, and we got to train them up. It's really hard to find lab techs these days.
Do you go back to the school? You said you train at the school and you lecture at the school. So are you pulling
Yeah,
some of those
yeah.
students?
Yeah, I go back to the school every year, and the teacher that's still teaching right now is still the teacher I was with, and she invites me every year. I used to be like, I used to mess with her a lot. Like once I put like a tiny speaker behind her computer, and it would say, "Hey, can you hear me?" Every like 15
Oh,
minutes,
jeez.
and she lost her shit. I'm telling you, like she's like,
I bet.
I'm gonna write you up if you don't tell me where this is. So, like, I was just that clown to her, and I was friends with her son as well. And so she always invites me back, and I'm always telling them what I'm up to every year. I'm always showing
You
them
should
the
be
op.
lucky she invites you back.
Yeah, I should. That was cruel. Now that I'm looking back on it, that's pretty cruel. I gave it a
Yeah.
day. I gave it a day. By the next day, I took it away from her. She thought I messed with her computer, but it was just a little speaker, and I'm like, I gotcha.
She's
Oh,
listening to
jeez.
this going, my God.
My God, Jonny Jakson.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she
So
said.
yeah, so you do pull students or when they
Yeah,
graduate or they can
yeah.
come over and learn?
Exactly. We pull students, we start them in an entry level position. And here at our lab, if you want to learn, we're not holding you back. You're the only person holding yourself back if you want to learn. There's so much knowledge in this building that goes from CDT framework techs that I get to work with, which is a dying art. You know what I mean? Especially
Mhm.
in Buffalo, we're so lucky to have that family of CDT framework techs working with us. I love working with them. I just got a framework on the design portal last night, and it had a bunch of clasping terminology, and I assigned her to it to design the framework, and we're gonna design the overstructure. The design team's gonna design the overstructure of the partial denture on top after she finishes up the framework, but man, those sometimes the verbiage of those clasps gets pretty crazy. So just super lucky to have so many knowledgeable people of many decades of experience in this building. So you can ask anyone, and everyone will come up and just let you learn. And as long as you're paying attention, you're not falling asleep, you're taking notes, and you're interested, everyone loves that you're willing to learn. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Any of those high school kids get over to the design services part and
Yeah.
evolve, or do they usually just stay in the lab?
Yeah. They make it over, but they have to reach that potential. They have to get there.
Yeah.
It's not something you just give them right away.
I like the fact that you have the designers. I mean, they're all listed. You could choose who does your design.
Yeah, right.
It's different. Usually you have no idea who's doing it.
Exactly.
But this, I mean, it's almost like a dating profile.
It's a dating profile with your virtual technician, right?
Yeah.
And it's not even that, it's a sense of security, right? You're getting the same thing with that person every time, you know how this person works. It's very collaborative, and that's the experience I wanted to create between technician and designers, and designers and the office, the doctor. The doctor and the technician should really be very fluid about their communication with each other and should be almost on a buddy level, because that's when you
Mm-hmm.
really can communicate and you can get down to the nitty gritty and get down to that stuff, and just work very collaboratively with each other. It's huge, that alone.
So what are you doing most of the day? Are you doing surgery designs? Are you educating?
Yeah, so a mix of everything, man. So helping the team, with anything they have questions on with designs, right? That's part of it. Making sure that the cases are assigned to whoever is, I'll assign cases if they pick next available designer, and I'll give it to
Hmm.
the stronger suited person for that design, so I'll pick and
Yeah.
choose based off of their strong suits of each individual designer, manage that, make sure that that was all sent. They sent it appropriately. The design is good. Also, we have trainings going on that are scheduled, so I have to keep in mind that we have some trainings going on. So I'll hop into some trainings here and there. A full day of trainings is like 4 or 5 trainings. So
Yeah.
luckily, yeah. So sometimes we're doing 4 or 5 trainings a day, and that'll take up a lot of the day. But yeah, that's what I'm doing every day. And then I have people text messaging me and calling me all the time wanting help. So I'm making sure that their Exocad license is working, right? Anyone that's Exocad licensed that we're one of them their resellers. Like, we're going to make sure that your license works. We're going to make sure that you're happy and that you're using it. I'm not just trying to say goodbye after I get you your Exocad. Like, Exocad's super powerful. There's no
Yeah.
reason it should be sitting in the dust in the corner.
So you've got like 10 jobs. You're dealing with client, like doctors' designs. You're dealing with labs designs as well. The laboratories send you design work, and you're helping train and choose who designs what. So that's about five, but I'm sure there's more.
Yeah. Along with, like, the social media stuff. I want to get out there, teach people on social media, and then any type of development or, internal development. I'm always trying to innovate. I have just that built into me.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to think of the next thing. I'm always trying to stay on top of everything. Stay on top of all the new things is pretty difficult. Like, Sin came out with a new screw, so I have to make sure everyone's got that updated. And they just like came out with it the last month, so like gotta make sure all my same day designers know that so and so client is using this new screw, and that they have to have that library, and they need to know what the screw is, right?
How many screws do we need? I mean, really.
Yeah, how many screws do we need? Really, I know. How many screws do we need? It's all up to the price and ASC, angled screw channel, on that
Yeah.
screw, and multi-unit, and now people are getting into 1.6 multi-unit threading, and then the
Oh,
1.72 multi-unit
jeez.
threading, and it's just a whole headache. But that's what
It
you
is
gotta
what
stay
it
on top
is.
of. That's what you gotta stay on
Yep.
top of
Yeah.
these days, right?
How many people do you help that just reach out to you via social media? They know that you're the guy to help.
But
I
yeah,
mean, do you
a
just
fair
get
amount.
random people all the
Yeah,
time? I bet.
yeah, a fair amount. And I don't mind helping at all. Just I don't mind helping at all. Like, I love it. That's like where I thrive, is meeting these people, and making sure that taking what they have going right now and trying to get them to that level that they want to achieve. And I'm only going to push you to the level that you want to achieve. I'm not going to make you do something outlandish, just whatever you want to
Yeah.
achieve, because at the end of the day, it's up to you on where you get to. So
100%.
yeah, whatever you want to achieve, we're there to help. I'm there to help. Try my best though. Sometimes I let some things slip through the cracks and I'm like, ah, dang. You know what I mean?
Well, you can't be everywhere for everybody. So,
You're right. You're right.
what about Chicago Lab Day? You got any plans? Or you all have a booth? You gonna be doing some speaking?
Yeah, so typically at Lab Day, we have a booth at the APS, the American Prosthodontic Meeting.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're typically there because we really like the prosthodontists, and we have a soft spot for that meeting as well. One of our doctor mentors, Dr. Ron Jarvis, he was president of the APS meeting years ago. So
Mm-hmm.
my uncle, going back to the beginning, my uncle started in his basement lab with Ron Jarvis as the doctor prosthodontist, and
Wow.
also Lee Culp was in the basement with my uncle
Shut up.
Andy.
Wow.
Yeah, so they were working on Early Empress in this basement in Dr. Ron Jarvis's office here in Buffalo, New York, together.
That's crazy.
My uncle Andy and Lee, they're still really close, and
Wow.
they talk every day, and they've been huge influential pieces to each other early on in their career. And Lee worked here before while ago, and it's just kind of comes in full circle, and things just happen for a reason. You know what I mean? So we're at APS meeting. I will be at the Ivoclar Academy.
Yep.
I'll be doing a lesson on Ivotion denture designing and Exocad. So Exocad came out with Ivotion denture designing back in 2022 at the Exocad Insights in Majorca. They kind of released it a little
Mm-hmm.
bit.
Been
I was
there. Been there. We
Yeah,
were
I love
there.
it. I love it. So I didn't go last year. My cousin Josh did, but the Exocad Insights before in 2022, I went to, and they were just coming out with that Devotion. And as soon as I saw it in Exocad, like my mind was racing with a million different things I can do with this. Because at the time we were just getting in with VHF, and VHF is a super great mill for the offices. So I was just running my mind with doing designs for Ivotion and Exocad and running the Ivotion through the VHF and having doctors mill their own Ivotion dentures after a monoblock try-in, and it only takes 4 hours for this mill job of the Ivotion for the doctor, and it's just incredibly efficient for traditional materials because these printed dentures, I mean, you can get them to last a year and a half, but you're gonna eventually what I'm seeing is water just absorbs into them.
So I've personally heard so many good things, awesome things about iVotion, and it sounds like you echo that.
Yeah, I mean I've seen
Yeah.
nothing but amazing things out of it. And the clients that are using it, the doctors that are getting the VHF mills in the practice, and they're going one try-in and then mill the final even sometimes on that initial design. They're only paying for that first design, and then they end up even milling that first design sometimes if the try-in goes really great. And it just comes out of the mill so nice. As long as the design is really good and the canvas is really good that you got, like, you just have to cut up the embrasures a little bit, and you can do extra contouring and stippling, and if you want, you can cut it back and add layering on the buckle, and that'll make it just furthermore even more beautiful. But just even as is, it's great.
I really wish my lab did iVotion. We don't, unfortunately, but from what I've seen, it's amazing. Does Exocad, do you have to design it differently?
Yeah, the workflow is a little different. You do have to make sure you purchase Ivoclar's tooth libraries.
Yep.
They're not that expensive at all. It's well worth it. And
Sure.
the difference about their libraries is they're a little more advanced. They have a big library set of them. So you got the Fenaris, Blue Line, Vivo,
Mm-hmm.
and the Ivotion, and all of them load in occlusion. So when you're designing upper and lower dentures in ExoCAD, you can chain mode the occlusion in a set in that set occlusion set for that library.
Oh.
Different libraries have different cusp interdigitation as well. So also overjet and edge-to-edge situations. So different of these libraries have that all pre-built into it. It's honestly the most advanced library set I've seen.
Interesting.
So with that, that's all you need. The latest Exocad, if you buy the lab bundle, it comes with the oversized milling and Ivoclar outputs. You just kind of need to purchase the libraries from your reseller.
Yep.
If anyone needs help, I'll help them. Just reach out to me.
Yeah, because a lot of it's how you nest it in that weird puck that they do.
Right. You got that ribbon and you're limited to that ribbon. You know what I mean? So you can orient the ribbon around and change your restorative height and how much white you have showing and everything. It's like you really have to mess with it sometimes, but on perfect cases it's amazing. On difficult cases with not a lot of vertical height, you will have to fight with that ribbon. But with that being said, you can. I've worked with really difficult situations and you can fight with the ribbon and you can get it in a really good spot. It's just about having that perseverance and trying, you know what I mean?
Sure.
But sometimes on like cases where you have literally no vertical height, I'll just call it quits and I'll say mill teeth, mill base, or we even do mill teeth process base as well in the Ivocap. So it's
wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
We could probably do another hour of how that works because I don't even understand how you would process a base and mill teeth. How does that work digitally? Let's not get into this. We're running out of time. Jonny, thank you so much. I'm so happy we finally got you on this podcast. Like I mentioned at the beginning, so many people said, because of Jonny Exocad, I was able to do this, or Jonny Exocad helped me do that. It's good to know that there's a real last name to Jonny Jakson.
Thanks. I love being on here. You and Barb are amazing, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you guys at Lab Day.
Yeah.
You guys at the Ivoclar booth again?
Yep, we're going to be hanging out in the same area, so make sure we stop by, say hi, and we'll see you then.
For sure, I'll see you then.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Have yourself a good one.
Thank you, you too.
A huge thanks to Jonny for taking the time out of your designing, helping troubleshoot, and teaching and creating new ways to do things with Exocad to talk to us. It was really great to get to know the man that so many people on this podcast have mentioned that he has helped them with their designs on Exocad. It's easy to see why he has earned the name Jonny Exocad. I think that's kind of cool. That doctor called him that, didn't it?
Yeah, he did.
That was awesome. Be sure, again, to come by the Ivoclar Ballroom at LMT Lab Day on Friday the 21st at 10 a.m. as he will be diving deeper into unlocking the full potential of doing Ivoclar dentures with Exocad. And of course, you might as well stop by and say hi to us.
Yeah, we're going to be there. I mean, just kind
We're
of
going to be there.
Off to the side, but go there for Jonny. I imagine it's going to be a great presentation.
Heck yeah.
All right, everybody, we're off to Vegas. Have a great week, and we will talk to you next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Freaking love, like the just humongous. I don't know.
The views and opinions expressed on the Voices from the Bench podcast are those of the guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the host or Voices from the Bench, LLC.